There's one guy by the morning. They're all on. Yeah, this is not a very bright little thing.
I appreciate the lights over the board. That'll be nice.
I want to welcome all of you to CHE118B, and I want to be fair from day one to tell you this is one of the very challenging classes that you are going to take at UC Davis. And whether 118B or 118C would be more challenging depends on our background. If we truly know CHE118B, 118C, you can lay back and start enjoying what you know and apply them. And then, if you don't know 118B, I regret to tell you I'm teaching 118C. And the reason I regret, then I have to tell you, I told you so. By that I mean, I will tell you guys, if you really still struggling with chemistry of 118B, drop the class in the fall, audit it first, and then take 118C. Because CHE118C, it is all CHE118B, applying all of the reactions, mechanisms that we have learned in 118B. So for this reason, I'm going to ask you from day one, truly be prepared. Tighten your seatbelt and consider this class as a full-time job. For 6 weeks class, this is a full-time job, and I will tell you why. Generally, during regular academic year, I will tell this class that you need minimum 3 hours study per day, 7 days a week, for the entire quarter. Now, applying that rule for summer session that we have shortened, it means literally 6 hours per day. Do the math, 7 times 6, 42. Plus 6 hours lecture, plus 5 hours, I get my word back. It's 150% job. I said full time. To the best of my knowledge, full time is 40 hours. It just added up to more than full time. So, and I'm not making this up. It takes that much time. That being said, honestly, I do not know any students that have put the time and has not done well. As recent as few days ago, several students sent me email or stopped by my office, and they told me, you are correct. If we put time, we do well. And I had students that they had single digit on their first meeting, and they got 70% on their final, because they realized that they need to graduate, and this was the last class. As you know, they have put it back. This was the last class they needed, and once they got that kind of score, they realized, I'm really serious. The only one that can make a change in your course grade is you. And it is smart studying, guys. That during the summer, smart studying means also a lot of studying as well. There are all sorts of resources, and it happens that one of my very best students has offered to be tutor for the class. So you can get help from tutorial service, and she was also a tutor during summer session one for CHE118C. So I was seeing how much time and effort. Of course, at the summer session, one, I have to tell you, so far I feel I was more lucky, because I had 3 of my best students that they were volunteering as tutors. This time, so far, I have help of 1 of them. But nonetheless, helps are there. I hold 2 office hours. We have total of at least 12 hours from TAs. So pretty much between us, our office hour, and tutor, you can get help. And you have to commit yourself day 1. That's all I am going to tell you, day 1. Because after that, I'm going to tell you it's too late. It's only 6 weeks left. Before you know, meters, final. That's it. Now, those of you that you are going to lab, please be prepared. Come with lab attire, because you are going to start experiment day 1. I know there was no lab, even though we call it lab discussion in CHE118A, only to satisfy medical schools rule for having certain units for lab, certain units for lecture. But we know it's mainly discussion in 118A. There is no lab. I'm talking about better lab. But you have had lab in Chem 2 studies, otherwise you wouldn't be here. Am I correct, guys? Because that's the prerequisite. So the lab rules for the resting is exactly the same as Chem 2 series. So those of you that you have lab this afternoon, please make sure go with proper attire. And I know last year when I said that, I'm not making it up, I was in my office, and all of a sudden, phone call. It was a student and said, I couldn't find the phone number for my TAs, that's why I'm calling you. Did you please go? My office is in room 310, guys. So that student asked me, did you please go and tell to my TA I'm going to be late and he shouldn't drop me? And then I said, when you are late? He said, because I'm not wearing pants. I said, you really had to call me and tell me that. He told me, oh no, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm not wearing the proper pants for lab. Right now I am in bookstore. I am trying to buy a pants.
Oh. Oh.
To go to lab, and after I'm done with the lab, I come back and return it. But I didn't make any comment. I said, okay. So we are going to say. So truly, because as you know, if you don't have the proper lab attire, due to safety rules, that covers everybody. We cannot step inside the lab. You need your goggles, you need your lab coat, you need to have skirt or pants to cover your ankle, guys. So that's what I want you to know. It is lab regulation. In addition to that, please read page 5 for safety lab rules and pages 31 through 39 for the experiments that you need to do, and also be prepared. By that I mean have your pre-lab ready for when you are working in lab. Of course, your TAs are not going to be very harsh today on grading those pre-labs because they can understand that you may not be familiar how to have your pre-lab for the first day. That starting next week, of course, then those pre-labs also will be graded according to the curve, those kind of things. Now, when it comes to lecture, all exams will be given on Thursdays. And to make it easy, week 3, week 5, week 6. At my age, I have to do something to make it easy for myself to remember, guys. So that's the only reason that they all are on Thursday, because when you are asking me, I don't want to be confused which one is Wednesday or Tuesday. So all 3 exams are on Thursdays, starting week 3. Then you have me 3, 5th, and last day of class. Midterms are 50 minutes. Final, obviously, is the entire 100 minutes. So these are the kind of things that I want you to be familiar. When it comes to labs, you will see there is one section, it says ARO. ARO means a student has completed all of the experiments previously and is satisfied with the grades. And I'm going to tell you, if you have anything less than 80% for your lab score, it's not going to help you. Because in CHE118B, CHE118C, average lab scores are around 86 to 90%. So obviously, if you are 80%, as I'm telling you, this is the minimum that probably will be neutral. Anything less than that, obviously, is going to be derived on your course grade. So, in case you are not happy with your lab scores, then check and see if any section has opening. Please attend a regular lab. Of course, I'm going to tell you it costs because you know the chemistry will charge you lab materials fee. But that's something that I want to know. Yes, sir.
Oh, just so the class knows, if they poor can't afford the brand new retail, there's 2 lab coats I saw at the UCW, it's the same ones, at the SPCA thrift store. I think they're like $1. So
okay.
SPCA
So
thrift store, there's the same lab coats at the bookstore.
So that's
They'll
only
be
for
gone
2
today.
students.
But 2, it's the SPCA thrift store.
Thank you.
3rd and some G Street, 3rd and H Street, something like that.
Thank you, sir. So, that being said, those of you that you are RO section, Andrew, head TA, has already sent email you that he needs to get your RO form. Basically, he needs to know which class you have taken the lab before, in order he goes and retrieve your scores for credit. That's as far as lab is concerned and RO section. When it comes to get exam, there is no late or early examination, guys. It is not just feasible for us to do those kind of things. If you miss a midterm with valid excuse, and I'm going to tell you right now, wedding of best friend is not valid excuse. In the first place, your best friend would not have his or her wedding on the day that you have exam. Otherwise, don't call them your best friend. How could they plan their wedding without consulting you? Okay? So, and I'm serious. You know, family reunion, best friend's wedding, brother, sister's graduation, I'm sorry to say, according to the campus, are not valid excuse for missing exam. But the other thing that I will ask you, and I'm going to tell you right now, the alarm clock didn't go off is not valid excuse either. So make sure, give your phone number to as many people as you know and ask them to call you at this time on the day of your exam, guys. So in case, and I mean it sincerely, in case the alarm clock didn't go off, so they call you and remind you. So that's something that I want you to know. Now, for students that they have valid excuse, if they miss a midterm, we will assign a calculated grade. Calculated grade is not the average of your other two exams. Is weighted average relative to the class averages. I will explain more. Say that a student, exam 1, the student gets 72%. Class average, 54%. Exam 2, valid excuse, class average, 58%. Final, 126 out of 160. Class average, 112, Russia 160. Okay? So, these are that. Now, calculated grade. Divided by 54 times 58. Okay, guys? So, what I mean, I am not going to average 72 plus 126 divided by 260. That is not fair, either to you or to the class. Why do I say that? Because if you do better on final, obviously you are going to be in advantage that I use calculated grade. If you do worse on final, of course, you will be better off your average, but would it be fair to the students that they took all 3 exams and on second midterm they had a bad day, they didn't do well? Obviously that would not be fair to them. This is something I have learned. Trust me, I have earned my grade here. It's not young age grade here. I am senior citizen and I am proud of it. Okay? I have earned it. Because you know what would be the other alternative. So that being said, I have learned truly the only way that I can be fair is using this method. I cannot be nice to everybody. It's impossible. So the best I can do is to be fair. And as recent as last week. I had two students in similar situation. One felt he is in disadvantage because I am using this method. The other sent me truly a nice email. Of course, the other student sent me a nice email as well, but said he has been in disadvantage by not averaging his score and using calculator. The other one truly sent me thank you for being fair. As you can guess, one got a better grade than the average. The other one got worse. So, again, I repeat, I cannot be nice guys to everybody. My responsibility is to be fair to every one of you. So this is something I'm going to tell you day one because it's not going to change. It has been lots of trials and errors, learning from students. Based on that, I am using this method. So, there is no late or early examination. If you sincerely have valid excuse and you feel you are not mentally and physically ready due to valid excuses to take the midterm, please do not go and take the midterm. Because if you go and take the midterm and then you do poorly, after that you send me a note from your doctor, from whoever, and you tell me, I took the midterm because I felt if I don't take it, you will give me 0. But this is my doctor notes. I was not feeling good, and that's why I didn't do good. You know, taking a midterm and sending a note and telling me you were not feeling good is like buying a lottery ticket and not winning. Can you get your money back because you didn't win, guys? For the same reason, if you take the test, I have no choice. Because I don't know how many of other students truly and honestly were not feeling well as well, but at the same time they took tests. So it is not that I give it a shot. If I did well, great. If I didn't, then I will provide the instructor valid excuse. No, once it is recorded, it stays there. So this is something I'm going to tell you. Day one. With that in mind, obviously our time is valuable and I like to talk about organic chemistry. And to get started, we will start with alkenes, which, as you know, these are the one that you have carbon-carbon double bond. If they have only one carbon-carbon double bond, their general formula would be CnH2n, which it makes them to be structural isomers of alkenes with one single bond, or structural isomers of cycloalkanes. So keep in mind, guys, everything you have learned in Chem 118A still works. As I said, 118B you need it for 118C, guess what? You need everything that you have learned in 118A for this class. The only difference is, in 118A, if you are not still sure, I don't know if you have looked at the summary sheet or not. If you look at summary sheet for chapter 12, hey guys, have you checked the class website? Did you see those summary sheets? If you look at summary sheet for chapter 12, just one chapter by itself was more than every reaction that you learned in Chem 118A. So what I am trying to tell you, anytime I am talking about something that you feel it is from chapter 118A, I will tell you which chapter. Please go back, give you that chapter as well. Because you need it for 118C as well as 118B, guys. But fortunately with 118A, you can quickly review everything. And guess what? Probably in a few weeks, you wish that Professor Maskell or your previous professors would let you to go back and retake all of your exams. Because now you know your Chem 118A so well, you can understand how could you miss those kind of things. That 118B is not like that. Even when we are applying it, you almost learn all of Ochem reactions in 118B. As I said, 118C we apply the principle. So when it comes to alkenes, those with one double bond, they are structural isomers of cycloalkanes. Alkenes and cycloalkanes, CnH2n. Now, that being said, I have a habit anytime I start any new functional group, we will go briefly over nomenclature. Now, for one, this one, because I have not taught you nomenclature, I will give you a short review. When it comes to naming organic molecules, we have prefix, we have stem, and we have suffix. Now, what do we write in prefixes? Name of substituent and position of substituents. For example, 3-methyl. So it means carbon number 3 is bonded to a substituent and it has one carbon, that's why methyl. So prefixes, you have location and name of substituents. What is the stem? Longest continuous carbon chain containing the functional group. Okay. And suffix. What is the suffix? Family name, last name. Is that right? So, name and location of substituents. Longest continuous carbon chain, and obviously last name or family name. For example, if your functional group is OH, what will be the family name? All. Okay, guys, that's what I mean. Now, in following these principles, every time that we are naming compounds, in writing this, we follow these 3 letters. The first letter stands for what, guys? Longest continuous carbon chain containing the functional group. Okay, guys? So the first longest continuous carbon chain containing the functional. second L stands for lowest possible number. Lowest possible number for what, guys? Functional. Lowest, that's okay, thank you for no, those kind of things actually help all of us, so please participate. One way or the other, we learn from each other. Okay. Lowest possible number for functional. Now what A stands for? You always write organic names in alphabetical order. Is that okay? So A, alphabetical. I have to admit, I have not taught in this class for a long time. And all of a sudden, I was noticing I am missing something. Of course, I'm so glad that we still do not have the technology to read each person's mind. But one of the things that it was in my mind, and I will share with you, generally, when I'm teaching in roll call or science lab building, those kind of things, as you see, they have lots of boards, you constantly have to move them around. So when I am doing some moving, I say, let's get physical. So this is my way of getting, thinking in my head, how I am exercising. And all of a sudden, I notice I am running out of space. And that's, that's the kind I like, to be honest between you and I. And if I knew that, if I would remember that this room does not have variables, I would not agree, because they sent me email and they said, if I mind to switch from rock to this room, and because they needed a larger room for the other class, so it was up to me. And I said, for me, what difference does it make? I like to do exercise, so I did walk from chemistry to here. Now I realize I got a bad deal. So that being said, in the future I will be more careful before I say, yes, I will go and check the chalkboard. Because I like to use chalkboard, guys. This is the way that I can stay at the same pace with you, and not just going click, and all of those kind of things. Yeah. So, doing this, now unfortunately, you have to be a little bit fast, because I cannot save everything I am writing, so I can go back or forward. If I make mistake, you want to correct me. Those kind of things, please speak up as soon as you see it. Because once I have erased them, again, it takes us time to go back and check. So let's do now a few practice. So we want to name this compound. Obviously, we have to choose longest continuous carbon chain. In this case, longest continuous carbon chain is how many carbons? 5 carbons, obviously. So longest continuous carbon chain is 5 carbons. Now I have to number my carbon chain. And the question is, from which end should I number? Right to left or left to left? Right to left. Now, why right to left? Now, before you say anything, let me tell you about my nationality. I am Iranian, and we start, I'm not kidding, writing from right to left. Okay? Now, why do we have to number our carbon chain from right to left? Obviously, if you say because you are Iranian, you are wrong. Is that right? It is true, I am Iranian, but that's not the reason that we have to number from right to left.
Because IUPAC says so. No.
Well, why IUPAC says so? Because we are, of course, we are following IUPAC.
Because if we go that way, then both the alkene and the BR have a number of 2.
Excellent. If there is 100% tie, guys, 100%, then in numbering you also follow alphabetical ordering. Okay, guys, if it is 100% tie, which shortly I will give you other example to get my point across. So in this case, the name of this compound is going to be what? Remember our prefixes? We use hyphens to separate numbers from letters. Don't forget these are not proper names, so we don't alphabetize them. And there are 3 starting for metal. Now, for the next step, you have choice, because obviously you always have to identify the position of your functional group. For example, you would say 2-pentanol. When you say 2-pentanol, you mean the OH is attached to carbon number 2. Now here, in the first place, it's obvious it takes 2 carbons to get carbon-carbon double bond. I agree, guys? Now, we always use only one because by saying in, E-N-E, we imply double bond. We are not going to say 2C, 2-3, in. So, now, when it comes to saying in, you have option. The option is either you will say 2-pentene. Oh, by the way, whether you put hyphen or not here. Oh, no, we have to, because the letters are not. Or you can say 2-boroho. This part I am going to write for method 10 to in. It is your choice. Either of the 2 are correct, either of the 2 are acceptable, guys. I have to tell you because I am the generation that IUPAC would not change its mind every day. I got used to this, so here you will see more often this way in my class than the new system. Now, when it comes to carbon-carbon double bond, there is a big difference between carbon-carbon double bond and carbon-carbon single bond. What's the difference between carbon-carbon double bond, guys, and carbon-carbon single bond? You had something in carbon-carbon single bond that you do not have in carbon-carbon double bond. What did you have in carbon-carbon single bond that you don't have in carbon-carbon double bond?
Bond rotation?
Absolutely. Carbon-carbon single bond, you have such a thing as freedom. Free carbon-carbon bond rotation. That's the reason this group would not be a stereocentered. You constantly are rotating it around. So because you are rotating it around, you always are going to have a plane of symmetry. You are not going to have a stereocentered. Of course, here we are not going to have a stereocentered either. Why we are not going to have a stereocentered, guys? Go ahead, please. Yes.
It's only attached to 3 different things.
Absolutely, because again, a stereocenter must have 4 different groups. This one is only. We don't have 3 rotations, so still the molecule is not a stereo. But even though we don't have a stereocenter, guess what? We have a stereoisomer. Okay, guys? We don't have a stereocenter, but we do have a stereoisomer. The reason that we have a stereoisomer is because of the fact that there is no more 3 rotation. Once you don't have 3 rotation, now I'm going to write the molecule in a way that you can see it. The one that I have right now I'm looking to make sure. Okay. Yes, I have only carbon number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now, I can have 2 stereoisomers. What are the 2 stereoisomers? Okay. Now, what do you call the relationship between these 2 stereoisomers? Are they enantiomers? Did you call the relationship between A and E enantiomers? No. Don't forget, enantiomers are non-superimposable mirror images. These are not mirror images of each other. So what would you call the relationship between these 2 structural isomers, guys? And between these 2 isomers, stereoisomers. They are not structural isomers, obviously. They are stereoisomers. What's the relationship? It starts with capital D. Diastereomers. Okay? So when it comes to alkenes, we have, of course I said that, capital D only to remind you. When it comes to alkenes, once there is not the carbon-carbon bond rotation, then in addition to all other isomers, you also are going to have stereoisomers. Now, how are we going to name a stereoisomer? In order for us to name a stereoisomers, if each carbon of double bond does not have hydrogen, which this is the case that I have used, guys. As you see, one of the carbon of double bond has hydrogen, the other one does not. Now first let me give you the name of carbon of alkene. You have heard in CHE118A different types of carbons, primary, secondary, tertiary, quaternary, those kind of things. In 118B, you will have more names for carbon. Carbon that it is alkene carbon, it is vinolic, or we just simply call it vinol. Okay, guys? Vinolic or vinol carbon. If each vinol carbon has hydrogen, you can use either old-fashioned way. Old-fashioned means cis trans. Cis means both hydrogens are on the same side. Trans means the two hydrogens are across. This is, guys, trans. The two hydrogens are across.
Six.
So, if each vinyl carbon has hydrogen, we can use cis or trans, old-fashioned or systematic IUPAC, which I'm going to talk about it right now. Assigning systematic or IUPAC, we will follow Kahn-Ingold three-log rule in assigning the priority. The only difference between here and then is, then you have four different groups. You were assigning 1, 2, 3, 4, or A, B, C, D. Here we have two groups only to each carbon. So we are only going by either high or low. So first we are assigning high and low. So in order for me to communicate with you, obviously I have to name my carbons, number my carbons correctly. That was only for filtering on. Okay, so carbon number 2. Between hydrogen and metal, which one has higher precedence?
Metal.
Definitely metal. So metal is going to be high, hydrogen is going to be low. Carbon number 3, between metal and ethyl, which group has higher priority? Definitely ethyl. So in this case, ethyl is high and metal is low. So if the two highs or the two lows are on the same side, then we are calling the diastereomer Z for okay, guys? So the enantiomer, the diastereomer that groups with same priority or on the same side is going to be Z diastereomer. So this compound is going to be Z. Now I want you to help me to name it. Yes. Z what? 3 methyl 2 pentene. Or again, as I mentioned, 10 2 in. So pretty nice. Whereas the other diastereomer is going to be E, same thing, okay? So we use easy method. Again, I remind you, E means the group that they have same priority, they are across from each other. They are not on the same set. And Z means those groups are on the same side. So this is as far as name. Now, one thing is, as time goes by, now you will find lots of molecules that they have more than one functional group. So what happens, and so far now we are familiar with 2 functional groups. What are the 2 functional groups that so far we are familiar, guys?
Alcohols and haloalkanes.
Haloalkanes, I will remind you, anything other than hydrogen is functional group. That for the purpose of nomenclature, nitro, halo, and ethers, they don't get respect. Please never apologize for learning, and I'm serious, guys. What are you apologizing? For trying to learn? I'm serious. I don't want I ever hear in my presence the word sorry when you are trying to learn. Because that's the only reason we are here. If you knew all of this stuff, would you be here? Mm-hmm. Who knows? Well, you will enjoy yourself. Is that right? And so now that you are here, let's try enjoy learning. Yes. So.
Bad habit, thank you.
I don't consider it bad habit. I'm grateful for speaking. And you know that. So, when it comes so far, we know 2 functional groups that they are last name, all and in. Is that right? So what happens if our compound has both of those 2? Okay, guys? So now I have a compound that it has both functional groups. So is the compound all, remember family name comes always last, is the family name is all or in? Alcohols have higher precedence than alkenes. Okay, guys? Alcohols have higher precedence than, yes, sir?
Going back to the W3 ethyl instead of 3 methyl.
No matter what, we always choose longest. We always choose longest continuous carbon chain. In the first place, if they are diastereomer, they have to be the same group. So, again, as you see, carbon number 3 has metal. And here, also carbon number 3. Am I correct? Or am I missing? Because I do make mistake, by the way. Hey, I'm human being, but mistake. And I'm not apologizing, just kidding. When I make mistake and I confuse you, I should apologize. You didn't pay to come here and get confused. So I sincerely apologize. And I'm going to tell you, before I start my classes, I ordered 1 ton of apology. And generally in week 3, I'm out of them. And because they are back ordered, I don't order anymore, because then you know I make mistake and you will correct me no matter what. Okay, guys. So these class of compounds are known as Keep in mind, alkene. That's why it is in. Whereas before it was alkanol. With sp3 hybridized carbon, alkanol. sp2 hybridized alkenol. So, to name this compound, from which end should I start to number? Right to left or left to right? Left to right, because obviously functional group gets lowest possible number. Should I use easy or cis or trans this time? Absolutely not. However, easy or cis trans does not apply this time.
Because the one on the end has two hydrogens.
Absolutely, because we have two identical atom gains. If you have two identical groups, even both of them were metal, or both of them were ethyl gains, not because they are hydrogen, they are exactly the same thing. If one of the vinyl carbons have exactly two identical groups, E or Z does not apply. E or Z is only two different isomers. So when both groups are the same, there is no E or Z. So the name of this compound is going to be what, guys?
2.
Absolutely. 4, 10, 2, all. No, there is no all. All 10, 2n, and 4n, 2 all. Either are the same thing. Any questions about naming? Okay, so now that we know how to name this compound, then we are going to talk about structure and bonding. So when it comes, and let me start with simplest molecule because it wouldn't make any. When it comes to alkene, we know that the hybridization of vinyl carbon is what, guys? What kind of hybridization? It is sp2. So vinyl carbon is sp2. How does an sp2 carbon form? We know from general chemistry that when it comes to valence electrons of carbon, for carbon, valence electrons are 2s2, 2p2 orbital. Now, when it comes to s, obviously, if we were using energy diagram, that's how we were using. Now, according to this energy diagram, yes, carbon needs 4 bonds, needs 4 electrons to satisfy octet group. Atoms make bonds to satisfy octet. But that being said, carbon, the way it is, cannot make 4 identical bonds. However, the way it is, cannot make 4 identical bonds. The one that you are going to make from S orbital would be stronger or weaker? Stronger. The closer the orbital is to the nucleus, the stronger the bond is going to be. So, one bond would be stronger. Then, when it comes to those two where they are same energy level, two identical. How about your empty orbital? What kind of bond that could make? Going back to your general chemistry again. Remember, you always need electrons. You need two electrons to make bond. No electrons. So what kind of covalent bond would you make with that empty orbital? It starts with letter C. Coordinate. The other atom brings both electrons to share. So we will see if carbon was using its atomic orbital in pure form, it would not be able to make four identical bonds as it has in methane. Methane, all four carbon bonds are exactly the same in bond length, bond energy. So this is something that we have learned. There are such a thing as hybridization. Now, hybridization, which hybrid orbital an atom starts with, depends on what? The number of groups that they are around that atom. Did I say the number of atoms that they are around? I said the number of groups. So when we are looking at this area of vinyl carbon, how many groups are around it? Yes. Any vinyl carbon has how many groups around it? Three, absolutely. I was going to write the expanded form to see. So each vinyl group has, each vinyl carbon has three groups. If there are three groups around any center, what kind of hybridization it will adopt? sp2. Okay. Number of groups. So because of that, these orbitals are going to start to negotiate, and basically p orbital will tell to s orbital, I am willing to step down a little bit if you are going to meet me in the middle. S has no choice, and it will give it all. So what will happen? The s orbital will move a little bit higher. The p orbital will move a little bit lower. We are going to get, don't forget, we have law of conservation of mass, law of conservation of energy, and Nassiri's law, law of conservation of orbitals. Yes. Number of orbitals always remain same. If I start with atomic orbital, 4 of them, how many orbitals I must end up? 4 as well. 3 of them are identical in energy, and 1 of them still is unhybridized, slightly higher. Now, the energy gap, you may remember from your Chem 2C, crystal field energy and pairing energy, pretty much similar. When they hybridized, the energy gap is small enough that it will overcome the pairing energy, and each orbital has 1 electron. So this is how the pi bond is going to be formed. And I have to give you a hint, guys. I truly, and I'm not making this up, I have failed art from kindergarten to ninth grade that it was mandatory to take 1 unit of art. I always have failed that subject. So please forgive me anytime I am making anything in form of drawing. That being said, obviously each carbon has 3 sp2. Question. Why I put some marks here? I'm not making any other marks there. Why I am drawing something like this? Anytime we are representing a hybrid orbital. Anytime we are representing a hybrid orbital, why you will see something like this. But don't forget, we are getting hybrid orbital between S and P. S, we know, is spherical. Well, I need board space, guys, and you all know what we are going to talk about. So I will remind you, S is spherical. How about P? P is longer. So what do you have here? What do you call this region?
Node?
Exactly. So we have node that once you make hybrid, did you have any more node? S is spherical, which it means it's going to spread around. So this is something that we call it as S halo, which it is significant. I will shortly tell you what is its significant. So when it comes to showing an orbital is hybrid orbital, we are drawing something like this to indicate there is no more node, guys. Why it is important that we know there is no more node. So obviously, sp2, what kind of bond?
Sigma?
Sigma. S stands for sigma. Any type of S, whether it is S orbital, sp, sp2, sp3, any type, it makes sigma 1. So we are going to have, obviously, carbon-carbon sigma 1. Then depending on the other atom, whether it's going to be hydrogen s orbital, obviously it's going to be also sigma, okay? Okay, so now I have used 3 out of the 4 orbitals. And I'm going to ask you, what would you expect the bond angle be here? For example, hydrogen, carbon, carbon bond angle would be, guys, 120, because you have 3 groups, bond angle 120. Now, obviously, each carbon has a p orbital. Is that right? Each carbon has p orbitals. Now, when it comes to p orbitals can form either sigma 1 or chi 1. S orbital, any form, always 6. P orbitals have the ability of forming either sigma or pi. Under what circumstances they form sigma bond? Okay. How would 2p orbitals form a sigma bond? They overlap head-to-head or end-to-end, whatever you like to call them. Is that right? So if they are across from each other, it's going to be sigma. On the other hand, if they are parallel, they form what kind of bond, guys? Okay. So now I'm just focusing on our theory. In the first place, don't forget, any two orbitals, they always form bonding anti-bond. We are not focusing on that aspect. Here, we are focusing on the difference between forming sigma bond and pi bond. Okay, guys? So we are focusing the difference between forming pi bond or sigma bond. So again, I repeat, head-to-head or end-to-end sigma. Side by side, pi bond. Now what's the difference between sigma bond and pi bond? Well, don't forget, these are your two atoms. Is that right? Do you see any node between the two atoms when they form sigma bond? As you see, every place has electrons. We need electrons to make bond. Don't forget, any bond formation is based on principles of electrostatic, like repair, opposites attract. So when it comes to covalent bond, the nucleus of one atom attracts valence electrons of another atom. So when it comes to sigma bond, there is no node. Can I say the same thing with my pi bond? So when it comes to pi bond, there is always something that we call it nodal connection. Okay, guys? Any pi bond always has a nodal connection. It has a node. So having a node, what does it mean? No electron. Having no electron, what it means in order of the strength of the bond? It is not going to be as strong. This is the main reason that pi bond always is weaker than sigma bond. Did I say double bond is weaker than single bond? No, they are only comparing one bond against the other. Of course, two is going to be stronger than one, collectively putting them together. So this is how pi bond forms in carbon-carbon double bond. Now let's see effect of this bonding. We already learned about one effect of bonding. What was that, guys? No free carbon-carbon bond rotation. Is that right? I'm not saying you cannot break it, but you have to pay for it. Is that right? So there is no free This is one effect. What is the second effect of having the pi bond? Electronegativity. What is electronegativity in the first place? What is electronegativity? Attraction of atom for shared electron. Now, when it comes to bonds, there are such a thing as S character. S character is percentage of S orbit. Okay, that's percentage of S orbit. Obviously, when it comes to p orbital, what is the percentage of S orbital?
0.
0. When it comes to S orbital, what is the percentage of S orbital? 100%. So now let's look at hybrid orbitals. sp3, what is the percentage of S orbital?
25.
25, 1/4, because we have a total of 4 orbitals. One out of those 4 is S, 25%. sp2, what is the percent of? It is 1/3, yes, 33%. And sp,
50.
50. Now, what is important about this S character? Again, I remind you, bonding is the result of attraction of an atom for valence electron of the atom. S orbitals are closer to the nucleus. So their negative charges can be attracted more to the positive charge of the nucleus. Higher S character means stronger bond, more electronegative bond. Now, which property will be affected by electronegativity? Going back to your general chemistry, which they didn't, I don't think they talked about it, that for sure CHE118A. Electronegativity has huge effect on which property? Charges, absolutely, accommodation of charges. That more importantly still, I want the exact word. Those are the moments I wish you could read my mind.
Polarity? No.
Polarity, yes. Again, polarity has effect on which property? Acidity and basicity, guys. Because mechanisms very soon you will see, they are based on this principle of either acidity, basicity, or electrophilicity, nucleophilicity, whatever you like to call it. So for this reason, I'm going to give you 3 compounds, and I'm going to ask you of the 3, which one would you expect to be stronger acid, which one weaker acid? And all of them are going to be simple hydrocarbons that we can compare apple to apple. By that I mean 2 carbons. C2H6, C2H4, C2H2. Which of these three would you expect to be strongest acid? And which one weakest? Strongest would be, you can just say formula if you don't know the name yet. C2H2 is at a higher S character. It's going to be, because you are more familiar. By the way, I truly do not expect you memorize numbers, guys, but because numbers sometimes speaks louder, I am using it here. When it comes to pKa, which speaks louder for comparing acidity, pKa of alkanes around 50 to 60, in case of methane, of course 60. Alkenes around 44. So truly, I hope you are noticing this speaks loud. So electronegativity, which would have reflected obviously on acidity and basicity. What would be the third effect? Yes. Bond length. Which one would be longer? Which one would be shorter? Yes. Obviously, double bond is shorter than single bond. So the third effect would be bond length. Last but not least, what would you expect? The effect of hybridization be? Bond dissociation energy. And this is something that now, again, I'm going to explain more. Because we like truly to compare apples to apples. So let me compare ethene with ethane. Because I want to know what I'm talking. Between hydrogen B and hydrogen A, which of the two carbon-hydrogen bond is longer? Hydrogen A or hydrogen B? Now, remember, both of them are sigma bond. Both of them are hydrogens. So I'm not using different atoms that we can argue against their signs, against their electronegativity. I'm just talking about same two atoms. Carbon, hydrogen. Which of the two? Obviously, they are not the same size, but that was argument. Which of the two would you expect to be longer? Hydrogen A's bond or hydrogen B's bond?
Question? Professor, so more S character means shorter bond, means stronger bond, and more dissociation energy.
Good, he memorized it so quickly. Okay? Of course, I have to admit, I know this gentleman is very dedicated to chemistry. At least I have seen him in 20 of my classes. So I don't know how come he doesn't get bored of them. But that being said, carbon, hydrogen, when it comes to bond length, again, I remind you, S is closer to the nucleus. The closer the orbital, the shorter the bond. The closer the orbital, what do you think about bond dissociation energy? Stronger bond. Okay. So this is bond length. That when it comes to bond dissociation energy, guys, what symbol were you using for bond dissociation energy in Chem 118A? Probably most of you were taking it during summarization 1. Am I correct? Please raise your hand if you are taking this summarization 1. Hey, I'm wrong. Okay, so I will not make the assumption anymore. So one way or the other, what is the symbol that you will use for bond dissociation energy? Capital D, and I mean it sincerely. Bond dissociation energy, so I should put D. Okay, guys? When it comes to bond dissociation energy, and of course, you already know about the acidity. Now, what is the effect of bond dissociation energy? Now, I'm going to ask you, again, Chem 118A question. And I'm going to ask you, write major organic product major organic product of the reaction that you see. 1 mole ethane, 1 mole bromine. Yes. Did you expect a chemical reaction? Okay. So if you know a chemical reaction, what is the name of the type of the reaction? Free radical halogenation. Okay, guys? Free radical halogenation. In case you have forgotten, chapter 3. Okay, guys? Free radical halogenation. I'm going to tell you right now, generally, on your exams, I will ask major organic products. That's why I did not write a balanced equation. But we are going to have periodic. Now, I'm going to use ethene, and I will do the same thing. Bromine. And I will remind you, free radical halogenation generally you use either UV light or heat or both, truly. Now I'm going to use both. Guess what? Ladies and gentlemen, did I write no reaction? No. And you know, because organic chemistry, every word has meaning. Every action has meaning. If I say no reaction, it means when I am bringing these two together, nothing happens. I did not write that. I said no free radical halogen. Why did I say that? Because you may not remember, because to be honest with you, I never ever have asked any student to memorize numbers except with alcohols when you are heating them with acids. That's the only time. Beyond that, I have never ever asked students to memorize numbers. So you don't remember. When it comes to bond dissociation energy, for that hydrogen, it is, or any, what type of hydrogen this hydrogen is getting. Remember, hydrogens also have type. What type of hydrogen this hydrogen is? And going back to, you have your carbons classified, what type of hydrogen that hydrogen is. Parimogen, because its carbon is parimogen. If carbon is bonded to three hydrogen is primary carbon, and its hydrogen by default becomes primary hydrogen. Any primary hydrogen, it doesn't matter whether it's ethane, propane, butane, name it. Any primary hydrogen, bond dissociation energy, 98 calories. Now, when it comes to this hydrogen bond dissociation energy, so you have, again, I will remind you your free radical halogenation, hopefully you review them. You had initiation step, propagation step 2, propagation step 3. Propagation step 1, propagation step 2. The difference between the energy that we will put, because propagation step 1 always is endothermic, right? Always is endothermic. Anytime you break one, you have to pay for it. Okay. Propagation step 2 is always exothermic, because you have to pay for your investment. Now, if the difference in energy between these two is not at least neutral, if it costs us, then we will not be hash. And this is the reason that we have huge bond dissociation energy. And iodine, you may remember, wouldn't do free radical. Bromine and chlorine were the one that we were using. Yeah. Neither of the two elements would make enough energy in propagation step 2 to make up for bond dissociation energy of 110. This is the reason that there will be no free radical halogenation with what type of hydrogen, guys? Vinolic or vinyl. Absolutely. Don't forget, hydrogens by default always become that type of hydrogen. So these are as far as characteristic of alkenes, the effect of this hybridization. The next topic that we are going to talk about are the hydrogen bonding. Now, when it comes to hydrogen bonding, hydrogen bonding, physical properties. Physical properties. Or I just put HM, doesn't matter. Now, when it comes to this class of compounds, they are hydrocarbons. If they are hydrocarbons, would you expect they be polar or non-polar? No. For sure non-polar, because carbon hydrogen bond never ever are going to make polar bond. So these are, as a whole, non-polar molecules. Now, if they are non-polar, what is the effect of this polarity? Or not being polar? Which physical properties are being affected? The intermolecular force. One, boiling point. When it comes to alkenes, similar to alkanes, they are low boiling point compounds. By low boiling point compounds, we mean 1 to 4 carbons, they are gas. 5 to 19, they are liquid, and then they become waxy. 20 and higher they become. This is one effect.
Question.
Yes.
At room temperature, Professor?
We always are talking,
Okay.
when it comes to all of these hydrocarbons, the first 4, even 0 degrees Celsius, they are gas. I don't remember numbers because I don't memorize, I don't explain. But methane may be boiling point minus 89 degrees Celsius. But again, don't take that number, guys. I'm guessing, not certain. What is the second effect? Polarity affects solubility in water. Would you expect that they be water soluble? If that clock is correct, I'm out of time. Yeah, thanks a lot, whether you have time or not, guys. So I'll see you tomorrow. I'm heading chemistry department. My office hours are in 160.